introduce our second session speaker. Kishore, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to advocate Guruji.
किशोर आवाज थोड़ा सा
okay,
थोड़ा ऑडिबल है लेकिन थोड़ा सा आवाज मिस हो रहा है.
Okay, is it now okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thank you Sandeep bhai for giving me an opportunity to introduce Advocate KP Dubey ji. Advocate KP Dubey ji is an advocate practicing at Bombay High Court and other subordinate court at Mumbai and MMR region. He is basically dealing with the criminal matters, matrimonial cases, commercial suits and cases under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1981, which is our today topic. He has a experience of 23 years. With this, I would like to request Advocate KP Dubey to take the charge.
Good afternoon, friends. Special thanks to Mr. Sandeep Jain sir, who has just given me opportunity to introduce myself to all of you and to address the issue. Today's topic is Section 138 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Now, before dealing with the chapter, I would like to throw some light on the impact of 138 cases on today's scenario, most particularly regarding the pendency of the cases, heavy pendency of the cases in different courts. And you might have read the news in recent newspapers that today's courts, right from Supreme Court to Magistrate Court, are loaded with heavy pendency of the 138 cases. Most of the cases, as regards number of the cases concerned, around 40% cases are only of the 138 cases. So now recently the Honorable Supreme Court, I think in the last month itself, has appointed a committee of 3 judges headed by Justice Chauhan of our own High Court, Bombay High Court, to find out the way out to get dispose of this matter, the matters pending in the different courts. So now committee has been given 90 days to find out the solution, how to get rid of these cases, pendency of the cases in different courts of the countries. So now this is the situation, and because of the pendency of these cases, 130 cases, other cases are being affected. Some criminal matters are there, hardcore crimes are there, murders, dacoity, NDPS cases are there. So many cases are there, and because of these cases, 130 cases, other judges, other courts are not getting enough time to get the dispose of those matters, where the society's interest is involved. So now we are dealing with the 138. What is the 138 cases? So basically, 138, Section 138 relates with the negotiable instrument at 1881, and this particular section was introduced by the Parliament in 1988, 89, by way of an amendment to the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. So the main object to introduce or to insert this particular section was to encourage the credibility of the checks. So nowadays what happened before that checks, there were no checks. Even checks were issued, they were dishonored, no action was taken against those persons who used to issue the check. So to encourage the credibility of the check, this particular section was inserted in the statute. Now, before completing the offense, there are certain criteria which are required to be fulfilled. First thing, issued a check. So check must be issued by a person on an account maintained by him only. So this is the first criteria. Check must be issued by the person on his own account. Yes, sir.
दुबे जी सॉरी आपको डिस्टर्ब कर रहा हूँ बीच में, तो कुछ बैंडविड्थ का इशू आ रहा, थोड़ा आवाज आपकी कम आ रही है सर लोगों पे, तो कुछ सेट हो सकता है, वहाँ जरा चेक करिएगा। हाँ प्लीज।
I'm trying, sir. Now it's okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
हाँ आ रही सर, आवाज आ रही है। हाँ आ रही है।
So, sir, before dealing with this chapter, section 138, there are certain ingredients which are required to be fulfilled at the threshold. First thing, check must be issued by a person on his own account. Suppose I have issued a check that is dishonored, so any action can be taken against me only. So this is the first criteria. Check must be issued by the person on an account maintained by him with a banker for payment of any account of money to another person from out of that account of the for discharge or in whole or in part. So first criteria is that check must be issued from his own account. Second criteria is that it should be issued for a debt or liability. Now there is a confusion regarding the debt or liability, because in statute only debt or liability is described. So later on in different judgments of the Honorable High Courts and Supreme Court, it was inserted that no, debt or liability means it should be legally enforceable debt or liability. Now we come to the what is the legally enforceable debt or liability. First thing, debt. Debt can be at any time. Suppose I have given you 100 rupees, and against discharge of those particular liability, particular return of those particular debt, you have issued me a check. Those checks are bounced. We have initiated the procedure under section 130. That is debt. But suppose I have given debt 100 rupees you today, and you have issued a check against refund of those particular amount after 3 years. So that is a legal debt, but that is not a legally enforceable debt. So that is time barred debt. So debt must be legally enforceable. That is the second criteria. Now third criteria is that there should be a check, and check should be presented
सर आवाज
within its
बहुत,
validity.
सॉरी सर दुबे जी आवाज बहुत
Validity
ब्रेक हो रही है।
Today is 3 months, 90 days. So
दुबे जी
sorry,
आवाज
but,
प्लीज जरा चेक करिए, बैंडविड्थ का कुछ बहुत बैंडविड्थ लो दिखा रहा है, इसके कारण शायद आवाज आपकी बीच बीच में जा रही है और क्लियरिटी नहीं आ रही सर।
हेलो जी, अभी सही है? ठीक है संदीप जी, अभी
नहीं अभी भी वो
आवाज आ रही है?
आवाज आ रही है, लेकिन रुक रुक के आ रही है और लंबे समय आ रही है, मतलब इमीडिएट आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
हेलो
हाँ सर।
हाँ आवाज आ रही है भी सर?
हाँ आवाज आ रही है, आवाज आ रही है। अगर
हेलो
सर आवाज अभी आ रही है बरोबर सर, आवाज आ रही है सर अभी।
हेलो 1 मिनट।
हाँ
सो हेलो, हाँ जी, नाउ इट्स क्लियर सर? आवाज आ रही है? हेलो हेलो
दुबे जी तो कैमरा ऑफ कर लीजिए और फिर करिएगा, बैंडविड्थ का इशू आ रहा है कुछ।
हाँ कैमरा ऑन करने के बाद आवाज नहीं आ रही है, ऐसा नोटिस मैं भी कर रहा हूँ।
हाँ अभी बरोबर आ रहा है, अभी आवाज की आ रही है आप।
ठीक है सर।
हाँ
So now sir, first thing is that the check has been presented to the bank within a period of 3 months from the date on which it is done or within its validity period. Now validity period is 3 months. So अपने को चेक बैंक में 3 months के अंदर डालना है from the date of its check's date. Third criteria is in the case of check is bounced, your check is dishonored. So from the date of dishonor, you have to issue a legal demand notice to the drawer of the check within 30 days. So suppose our check is dishonored today, we have to issue the notice to the other side within 30 days. giving 15 days time to him to make the payment. Describing the main particulars of the notice will be that to so and so Mr. under the instruction from my client so and so, now you against your liability so and so issued a check number so and so dated so and so which was dishonored, which was presented in my bank on so and so date. It was dishonored due to reason of so and so. Now I received the intimation for dishonor of check on so and so date. So therefore you are hereby required to make the payment of the check amount within 15 days from the receipt of this notice, failing which I shall be compelled to file a case under section 130. That will be the content of the notice. So even a legal a party in person can issue the notice, or through advocate notice can be issued. So that is up to you. Either you want to get. Now fourth criteria is that there must be a period of 15 days mentioned in the notice to make the payment. And fifth criteria is that if drawer of the check failed to make the payment within 15 days, so you have to file the case against him from the 16 days to another 38 days. Means here total you will get 45 days to file a case against the party under section 138 Act. Now, sir, these are the legal proposition. First, there should be an account maintained by the person. Second, check should be presented within 30 days. A demand notice in writing should be given. 15 days time should be given, and you should wait for 15 days. So that is the criteria, that is the ingredient which are required to be fulfilled. Once the party failed to make the payment within 15 days, you get right to file a complaint against the person. So now question is before whom we should file the case. So appropriate authority, appropriate court is the magistrate court where your bank is situated. Suppose your bank is situated at Bhinder. So you have got the jurisdiction of the court is the bank where the area where bank is situated. Now our Bhinder area is situated within Thane court jurisdiction. So we have to file the case before the Thane court. That is the local jurisdiction of the court. Before that, before 2016, there was 5 places described in the statute to file the cases. First, where your bank is there. Second, where other parties' banks are situated. Third, where your office is situated. Fourth, where other side's office was situated. And fifth one, from where you have issued the demand notice, means your advocate's office was situated. So 5 criteria. What happened in 2014? The Honorable Justice T.S. Thakur has passed a judgment that no, for trying to try the offense under section 138, only one court have got a jurisdiction, that is the accused, means the person who has issued the checks. His bank's jurisdiction is only having the competent jurisdiction. So the person who has issued the check, suppose the person who has issued the check is situated at his office is situated at his bank is situated at Delhi. So we have to rush to Delhi court for filing of the case under 138 cases. Now question is, so what happened? Almost all cases from different parts of country are used to transfer to the places where accused bank were situated. Now the representations were made to the parliament, ministers, and they introduced a bill in 2005 that only the bank where complainant's bank, where the check was deposited, is situated, that court is only having the jurisdiction. So now the jurisdiction points is settled now. So let the party be reside at Delhi, let the accused be reside at Delhi, let the advocate's office be at particular place. But where is your bank is situated, that area's court is having exclusive jurisdiction to try and entertain such type of cases. So these are the basic things. Now what happened in this pandemic situation? In particularly in 2020, March 2020 to June 2020, checks were given to the parties. They were kept in abeyance because there were a lockdown countrywide. So even banks were not working. So those checks were become time barred. Now question arose that since check was not presented in the bank because there was a lockdown, there is no fault on the part of person who is having the check or holder in due course. So a petition was filed before the Supreme Court somewhere in I think July 2020, and it was reported in Hindustan Times, New Delhi, on 10th July 2020 that the petitions seeking extension of validity of checks were dismissed on the ground that Reserve Bank of India has strongly objected it because the RBI has fixed the validity period of check under Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act. The court noted that all banking systems across the country follow this prescribed period, and there is no need to interfere with the same. If it is interfered, there will be a problem in the banking system, and that is why the petition was dismissed. Now, again, in July 2000, I think in June 10, 2000, in June 2020, the Parliament has 1 minute. The Ministry of Finance has proposed that in order to attract the foreign investment as well as to promote the policy of ease of doing business, the various criminal offences should be decriminalized for improving business sentiment and unclogging court processes, which also includes 138 of Negotiable Instrument Act. The main reason for this proposal was to increase the foreign investment in our country and will help in boosting the country's economy during this condition. Now, what happened? The moment that this particular proposal was introduced in Parliament, there was a huge protest across the country. Even myself, being a lawyer, and other bar association on behalf of the advocates and so many trade unions has strongly protested the proposal of the government, and now same is pending due to COVID and other policy related issues. So in fact, that is not even implicated, but I think it will be implicated, and the punishment part, Psalm 138 will be repealed in order to attract the foreign investment and to promote the policy of ease to doing business. So that is the whole concept. Now, one thing is there. Suppose a check is issued for discharge of a legally enforceable debt or liability. So now question arose, through whom it should be filed? Cases should be filed through whom? So in my humble submission, in my opinion, any person who is holder in due course or who is payee, either in his personal capacity or through his power of attorney holder, can file the case against the person who has issued the check. Now, check can be, one thing is to be noted here, check can be, this prosecution under Section 138 can be lodged only against the person who has issued the check. Suppose check is issued from a joint account. So only the person who has issued, who has signed the check, he is liable, not other person. Suppose my account is standing in the name of myself and my wife, and I have signed the check. So only I am liable to be prosecuted. Earlier, what happened? The person who, all the person who are joined with the account, they were held liable. But no, Supreme Court in 2018 says that no, only the person who has signed the check, he is only liable. So only the exception of this category is Section 141, who says that if check is issued by a company or incorporated body or a society, all persons who are associated with the company or society or such trust, they all are liable. So even suppose a check is done by XYZ Company Private Limited, and there are 4 directors, and if complainant is able to prove that no, all 4 persons were actively involved in the commission of the offense, they were in charge and liable for the day-to-day business of the company and all these things. So all the 4 persons are liable to be prosecuted under Section 138. So while dealing with this case, we have to be very careful that person who has issued the check, he must be known to us. Sometimes what happens, I have supplied goods to a person who is having his address or who is doing business at Delhi. I have never seen his face. I have never personally met him. but I have been doing business for a long time. So what happened till now? I have been supplying the materials. They have been issuing the checks. Checks were deposited in the bank. They were credited. But sometimes what happens? Unfortunately, one check is bounced. Now, question is, I don't know who has issued the checks. So that is the most difficult part today in 138 cases. And taking the benefit of this, the persons who have issued or who purportedly to be has issued the check were acquitted because we don't know who has signed the check. Now GST number is there. From GST number we can find out who has signed, who is proprietor of the check. But before that, only VAT was there. So from VAT number we could never be able to know that who has signed the check. Sometimes what happens? I have given mandate to my bank that on behalf of so person so and so is trying to sign the proprietor of the company, a firm. But I don't know actually who has signed the check. So I have filed the case against the proprietor, but in fact check was signed by the power of attorney holder. So taking the benefit of that, the person who has signed the check is not made a party, the case was dismissed. So now before dealing with such type of matters, we must assure that the person who has signed the check, he must be known to us. So I will request to all of members that before dealing with such parties, please note down the status of the person who has signed the check. So this is the most important thing. Again, there are certain things that compensation. What would be the compensation under section 138 if I file a case? So under the statute, the compensation is provided that it's double of the check amount. In the case of person found guilty, he shall be liable to pay the compensation double of the check amount. So suppose check amount is 1 lakh, so he may be directed to pay compensation 2 lakhs to the party. Apart from that, he is also liable to be sentenced for 2 years. That is the most important because nobody is bothered about the money. Only the thing is when he is sent to the jail, then only he makes the payment. Otherwise, he will never make the payment. Sometimes what happens, a person doesn't have anything, so we can't recover the amount from him. So in order to avoid all these things, the statute has rightly inserted this particular sentence. So just to fearing this sentence or going behind the bar, he used to make the payment. That is the most. But now, unfortunately, our finance ministry has proposed that penal part should be removed from the section. So I don't think it will work any effect more further effectively because this is the only thing which has kept the person to fear that yes, if I am not going to make payment, I will send the behind the bar. So once this particular part is removed, nobody will bother to make the payment. That is the whole difficulty. So this is the now another things are there that who has issued the check and suppose dependency of the case. Suppose a person who has issued a check and I have launched a prosecution against him and he is expired during the pendency of the case, your case is finished now because there is no provision in the statute to bring the legal heirs of the person on record at his place. So the moment person is expired, drawer of the check is expired, the case is finished. So in order to avoid all these things, so it is advisable to launch a civil suit also. Because in civil suit, there is a provision that if suppose person is passed away, so his legal heirs can be brought on the record. So money can be recovered through legal heirs. But in 138 cases, there is no such procedure. Now, another defense which has been taken by the accused at most time that your amount is not shown in income tax return. Suppose there is a transaction of cash. So I have paid 10 lakhs rupees cash to a person and against refund of those particular cash amount, I have taken the check. Check was bound. I have launched the prosecution under section 138. Now, during the process of the case, the accused used to take defense that no, this amount is not legally enforceable liability. Why? Because the amount is not shown in your income tax return. So many cases were pending on the issue. So many accused were discharged from the court, lower court, trial court. On this ground only, your transaction is not a legally enforceable because you have not paid the tax. You have not shown the amount in your IT return. That is why that amount cannot be set legally enforceable debt. So matter went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court says no. Even the person who has paid the amount have not shown the amount in his income tax return. That is his problem. That is the problem of income tax department. So Section 269 SS of IT Act, Income Tax Act doesn't come into picture. Even suppose he has not shown it in his income tax department, the income tax department is there to take appropriate legal action against him. But because he has not shown the amount in his income tax return, you cannot take benefit of that, and you cannot be acquitted. So that was the position which is now settled by the Supreme Court. So these are the things which are applicable to the Section 138 negotiable instrument cases. Now, if anyone has any doubt, they can just come there. Hello.
Thank you, Dubey for giving such a wonderful presentation on this 138 section. There are some questions are there. I'll request Sri Lalit Manoj. Hello. Amaya ji have a question. Yeah, please carry on, Amaya ji. Hello.
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 Yeah, please ask your question, Amaya.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Dubey, I have a question. Like, during COVID crisis, there have been a lot of cases where check bouncing cases have been observed, and most of the advocates nowadays are recommending to go for a summary suit rather than going for a check 138. Check bounce case, because in summary suit you have to deposit around 20% amount also under a bond. So what is the effective remedy? Because ultimately, recovery is the main concern in such cases. So what would you recommend, whether summary suit is advisable or, under negotiable instrument plan?
Hello, Dubey ji. Hello, Dubey ji. Hello. Dubey ji is facing network issue, I think.
Hello. Sir.
Dubey ji.
Please repeat your question, sir. Hello.
Hello. Amaya ji is there?
Sir. Yes.
Just a minute. I just have to unmute him.
Hello.
Yeah, please carry on.
Dubey ji, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I am asking in the context of COVID-19, there have been a lot of problem with the recoveries, and
Yes,
so, there are two approaches which mostly advocates are following. One is, going with the summary suit for the recovery proceedings, and another is, going under Section 138 negotiable instruments.
Yes.
So which one do you think is a effective remedy to deal with such cases? Because, ultimately recovery is of a primary concern in such cases. Yeah.
What happens, sir, if you have the check and check is still alive, means it's within its validity period. So the most effective remedy is only 138, because here what happens, suppose person is not making the payment. So you have got every right to send him behind the bar. And because of apprehension of the being behind the bar, the person used to make the payment. But in summary cases, even equally you can invoke the provision of summary suit. But what happens, suppose in summary cases, summary suits, you will get a decree from the court that person so and so is hereby directed to the make payment of so and so with interest at so and so rate to so and so person within so and so period. So suppose he did not make the payment within so and so period. So what you will do? There is another provision that you have to go for the execution of the decree. and that is a very expensive and very laborious, very time-consuming process. So for that, you have to be aware about the properties of the person against whom you have obtained the degree. Suppose you have obtained the degree against me, but you don't know about myself, who I am, what is the property standing in my name, where I am residing, what are the movable property, how many accounts are standing in my name, etc., etc. So in that case, you would never be able to execute the degree, and you would never be able to recover your money. So the most effective weapon in your hand is 138 only. If you don't have check, of course, you can go for the summary suit. But if you have checks, so you go for the 138 only. That is my recommendation. That is my opinion. And in alternate, you can go for both remedies. You file 138 cases, and you also file the summary suit. As I told you that if suppose during the pendency of the cases, a person is expired, you would never be able to recover any amount by way of 138. So in that case, only one this recovery suit means civil suit is effective, because there is a provision that you can brought the legal heirs of the persons on record, and from them you can recover your money. So that is the whole thing.
Because Dubeji, practically, in lot of cases, I have witnessed, that the matter remains in proceeding for, roughly 10, even 12 years for some cases, and still,
Yes, sir.
there is no, justice that is received for the person. So, I mean, what is your view on, how do we expedite the matter in such cases? Because 138, not practically many cases, have been able to receive the money in such cases.
No, there is no way out of this, because of the pendency of the cases. Now I told you that being worried of this situation, the Honorable Supreme Court has appointed a 3 judges committee to find out the solution of get rid of this pendency. So we are also helpless. We are just trying to our best. Even judges are helpless, because suppose 100 cases, special cases are appointed for 138 cases. Special courts are appointed for summary suit. Special courts are appointed for commercial suit. But still there are so many loads. You will not believe that today is suppose I am going to Girgaon court. I am going to Girgaon. More than 200 cases are in the list. So if suppose 1 minute are given to each cases, they would not able to even call out the entire board. That is the whole difficulty, and we are helpless. So that is
would you even recommend DRT in such cases, like going to the debt recovery tribunal?
No, that is applicable only for the bankers, and that's to nationalized banks. So a private person cannot approach to the DRT.
Because such provision was already there under the insolvency and bankruptcy code. But
yes,
I think that section they have not still activated. The government
the Insolvency Act is there, but the party from whom you are seeking the relief, against whom you are seeking the relief, suppose you have advanced a role to a particular person, individual, you have advanced loan, or you have sold out certain materials to a firm, partnership firm or proprietorship firm. So this DRT code or even this NCLT code is not applicable for you, available. Okay. Because it must be either bank, or for NCLT, it must be a private limited company. Earlier, what happened? Above 5 lakhs, you can invoke through NCLT. But now that in January 2021, this particular limitation is removed, and only the matter who are above 1 crore, for that you can approach with the NCLT, not below that amount, 1 crore amount. Right. So only way is either to file 138 case if you are having the check. If you don't have the check, you are having only bill of exchange, then to approach the civil court, either by way of summary suit or commercial suit or recovery suit. That is the only remedy available to us. If opposite party is private limited company, and your recovery amount is about 1 crore, you can approach the NCLT court.
Right. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, we have another question from Lalit ji. Lalit ji, please ask your question.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One thing,
yes,
if a person is habitual defaulter and every month the check is returned, can we file one single petition for all the Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can we file one single petition for all the check written within a year or so? Or we have to file all the 12 cases?
No, sir. You have filed separate cases for each return of check. Only 3 checks written within a span of 3 months. Sorry, 1 month, 30 days.
Yes. There was recent proposal, I think the Supreme Court was of the view that these petitions can be clubbed of all the check written within
You
a
can
year.
club that. But it is bounced beyond 30 days. So you have to file separate case for that.
Okay.
So only 3 cases, 3 checks can be clubbed together, not more than. And those checks should be bounced within the span of 30 days. If it is bounced beyond 30 days, you have to file the separate case. You have to issue the separate notice.
Oh. Second thing, nowadays the balance sheet, auditor balance sheet, they are all public documents. They are filed with the ROC, duly
Yes.
approved and adopted by the board of directors. Now, within that balance sheet, either by way of a note or by way of an entry itself, there is one debt which is shown due to someone. Then that becomes an enforceable debt. And
Yes,
the signing of the balance sheet itself amounts to acknowledging that debt, though there may be a dispute.
Yes, the Supreme Court recently, I think 2 days back, has
Recently Supreme Court has held that it shall be created as an enforceable debt.
acknowledgement. So you can claim on the basis of those balance sheet. So party, yes, sir.
Even I have some dispute with the party and that amount from my side is not payable, but I am still showing it in the balance sheet and I am signing the balance sheet. I am signing the balance sheet and filing it with the ROC. The signing of the balance sheet itself amount to acknowledging that particular debt.
Yes, sir. It itself amount the.
Can we put any disclaimer in the notes itself? That though such and such amount is appearing, but this amount is
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Yeah, or can we put a disclaimer in the balance sheet itself or in the board of directors report that such and such debt or liability is appearing and it is disputed, and from the side of the company, the board of directors feels that nothing is payable. Will that absolve?
I don't think there is such provision in the statute, and Mr. Sandeep Jain is there to tell this because I have never come across with such type of cases. There is a disclaimer part on your balance sheet.
Yeah, it is related to balance sheet portion. Okay.
Once it is shown in your balance sheet, it is deemed to that you have acknowledged the debt and liability.
Yeah,
So you can't question it.
recently, on this side, 1 month back or so, this Supreme Court has given this type of order that even if you sign it, and then it amounts to acknowledgement.
Yes. I am telling you now, in last month, it's only the Supreme Court ruled that no, once amount is shown in your balance sheet, so it is a deemed acknowledgement, and you can't dispute it that I have not taken any loan or I have no liability against so and so.
We are putting a note and also we are qualifying the the auditor's report also, putting the contention of the company that so and so debt is being depicted in the balance sheet, but in fact it is not payable due to so and so reason. It may not be acknowledged as debt.
No. I don't think there is such provision.
Okay. Yes, no, because if there is a company which has filed resolution for insolvency, in that case, if there are any petitions against the company for 138, will those petitions automatically abate or the proceeding will continue against the party, against the company?
That is only during the period of moratorium of 3 months. Once company is liquidated, directors are automatically liable.
No, the company is not yet liquidated. It has filed for insolvency, IBC code.
But company has been liquidated in your case.
And the resolution has been accepted by the IBC board. In that case, if there are any pending litigations under section 138, will these petitions will automatically abate or will they continue?
Only the period of moratorium period, 3 months only, unless resolution is made and company is liquidated. Once company is liquidated, resolution is made, the 138 case is automatically revived. So directors, the persons who have signed the check are the directors who are made as an accused in the 138 cases. They are still liable to make the check amount, to pay the check amount.
Okay. By way of a relief, can a magistrate order freezing of the account, freezing of the bank account to the extent of the dishonored amount? Is it possible?
No, no, sir. There is no such provision.
There is
Magistrate
no-
have no power to direct the bankers to attach or to seize the account. Only the police or investigating authority have power during the course of an investigation of a FIR. They can attach the property or by the order from the court. In other criminal cases, suppose some 420 cases is there, fraud cases there, forgery cases are there. In that court, magistrate have got power, but in 138 they have no such power. They can't direct bankers to attach the account.
And regarding jurisdiction, I think I have heard that magistrate of different jurisdiction are being allowed to register the case after, even not within their jurisdiction, but after conducting a proper inquiry. They can register a case. They can register a case even if the case is not within their jurisdiction, but for that they have to conduct an inquiry. And only after the inquiry is conducted and a prima facie guilt is assumed or it is established, then the magistrate can file a case. I mean, the case can be filed with a magistrate which is not in the jurisdiction. Is it possible?
That is there, sir. But only in metropolitan areas like Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kanpur, Ahmedabad, only a metropolitan magistrate can make an inquiry or can order an inquiry investigation against a particular person where the offense is committed. Means suppose offense is committed in Borivali and magistrate is in VT area, CST area, Esplanade Metropolitan Court. So Esplanade Metropolitan Court magistrate can make an inquiry though offense is committed within the area of Borivali Court. But in other cities where district court is there is no such provision. And that is only for conducting the inquiry. Ultimately, the inquiry or investigation will be carried out by the local police station.
Sorry, Lalit, sorry to intervene here. Actually, we are supposed to honor our beloved member, Chetan Mehta.
Just
but
one. I have just two questions. I am almost finished. Just little
yes,
question.
please continue. Please continue.
Yeah. No, nowadays when some traders they take distributorship of some company, they ask blank check by way of security. How far is it valid if the check is returned thereafter? And I mean the producer himself using the amount and deposited, and the check is returned. What
Yes,
would be
sir,
the
that
right?
that is still valid because section 20 of the Negotiable Instrument Act clearly says even the instrument is blank, but the drawee of the check have got every right to fill up it up to the extent of their liability. Suppose your liability is of rupees 10 lakh, so you can put the amount of 10 lakhs in the check, blank check, and present it through your bankers. And if suppose it is dishonored, you can initiate the proceeding. But you can't put amount more than your liability. Suppose your liability is 10 lakhs, you can't put 20 lakhs amount or 15 lakhs amount. So even the instrument is blank, check is blank. But it should be signed. So
Lastly,
even it is blank, you can put the amount as per your choice, as per your extent of liability, and get it dishonored and prosecute if it is bounced.
Lastly, if I get my income tax refund check and if it is returned, can I proceed against the ITO?
No, sir. Income tax department is exempted.
Exempted. So the government departments are exempt. Okay, sir.
Government
Thank
department
you.
से आप पैसा ले नहीं सकते, दे सकते हैं खाली.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Lalit, do you have any more questions?
Over.
Yes, should I take,
Over, from my side,
Right.
over, Sandeep.
or all your queries have been resolved? All your queries have been resolved, sir?
Yes, from my side, it is over.
Yeah. Just to intervene, Dubey will take some few more question. Just allow me to introduce our beloved chartered accountant, C.H. Chetan Mehta, who's worked like a corona warrior in this pandemic. He's doing fantastic job or left, right, and center. Everywhere you ask, he will help you in every manner in this pandemic. I like to acknowledge the presence of CH Chetan Mehta here. I also want to like to acknowledge the presence of our past chairman of Visay branch of WIC, Ankit Rathi, is here, or also our senior chartered accountant Atul Mehta ji. Before we go into, I'll request Vimal Agrawal ji. Vimal Agrawal ji is here.
Yes.
Sir, please honor our Chetan Mehta sir, who is here in our social group platform.
Thank you,
Over to you,
Sandeep.
Vimal ji.
थैंक यू संदीप जी। सच्ची मानव सेवा क्या है? अगर ये सीखनी है तो अपने खुद के मेंबर सीए चेतन मेहता जी से सीखनी चाहिए। आज जब पूरा वर्ल्ड कोविड जैसी महामारी से जूझ रहा है, तो ऐसे कठिन वक्त में चेतन जी ने अपना सब कुछ कोविड पीड़ित लोगों की सेवा में लगा दिया है। आज मीरा भाईंदर में किसी भी सीए मेंबर के कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है तो उसको सबसे पहले चेतन मेहता जी याद आते हैं, और वास्तव में चेतन जी अपनी हर संभव सहायता उस सीए मेंबर्स के लिए करते हैं। चेतन जी की तारीफ में हम जितना बोले उतना कम है, क्योंकि इतनी छोटी एज में इतना समर्पण शायद किसी विरले में ही होता है। चेतन जी के डिक्शनरी में शायद नो वर्ड नहीं है। उनको आप कैसे से कैसा कठिन काम बोलो, उनके मुंह से यस ही निकलता है, और न केवल यस निकलता है अपितु वो कठिन से कठिन काम को संभव भी कर दिखाते हैं। चेतन जी, आपने इस प्रोग्राम में उपस्थित होकर भाईंदर सीए सोशल ग्रुप की शोभा बढ़ाई है। इसके लिए मैं भाईंदर सीए सोशल ग्रुप की तरफ से धन्यवाद बोलना चाहूँगा। चेतन जी, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा, आप क्या क्या काम कर रहे हो समाज में, कहाँ क्या अपनी फैसिलिटियाँ है हॉस्पिटल्स की, क्योंकि बहुत कम लोगों को जैसे कभी दिक्कत आती है तो उसको पता नहीं है कि मेरे को क्या करना चाहिए। तो मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा कि उस पर आप प्रकाश डालें। ओवर टू चेतन जी।
नमस्ते। Am I audible, संदीप जी? हेलो।
आ रहे, आवाज आ रही है लेकिन थोड़ी सी
यस चेतन भाई, थोड़ा कम आ रहा है।
थोड़ा कम आ रहा है, ओके।
हेलो, आवाज नहीं आ रही चेतन?
हाँ संदीप जी 1 मिनट का आप मुझे टाइम देंगे प्लीज जरा।
संदीप जी, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट कि आप हमारे सोशल ग्रुप के फ्यूचर के सेमिनार्स भी जरा एक बार मेंबर्स को बता दीजिए। तब तक
we are also yes Nitesh, we are heading towards more and more seminar in coming days, like जैसे हमने ये health is wealth एक नेम रखा है कि आगे जो भी सेमिनार्स होंगे वो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली हेल्थ इज वेल्थ और लीगल फ्रेमवर्क के अंडर करेंगे अपन, जिससे अदर सीए और अदर मेंबर कैन टेक बेनिफिट। चेतन, यू आर अवेलेबल?
यस सर।
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, we'll discuss on
yes,
this.
yes. Thank you very much for the appreciation. पर सच जितना आपने बताया उतना कुछ नहीं है, मैं सिर्फ मेरा प्रयत्न कर रहा हूँ। हमारे गुरुदेव चंद्रशेखर जी महाराज साहब ने जो हमें उपदेश दिया था कि हमें ऐसे पेंडेमिक के सिचुएशन के अंदर सबकी हेल्प करनी चाहिए, और हम सिर्फ हमारा काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। जितना विमल जी ने बताया कि आप इतनी सेवा कर रहे हो वगैरह, मैं भी अपनी ऑफिस वगैरह सब लेके बैठा हूँ, सब कुछ कर रहा हूँ। पर जितना मुझसे हो सकता है, जितने अपने मेंबर्स के कॉल वगैरह आते हैं मुझे, तो मैं जितना जिनको हेल्प कर सकता हूँ उतना मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। और मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप भी ये अच्छे कार्यों के अंदर आप सब हमारे साथ जुड़ सकते हैं। बहुत ही शॉर्ट टाइम के अंदर हमारे स्कूल के अंदर भी हम कोविड सेंटर वगैरह इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, और जब जिसको कुछ भी काम हो तो हम हमारे ये ग्रुप के प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर भी हम इन बातों को रख सकते हैं। मैं यहाँ पे सबसे पहले थैंक्स कहना चाहूंगा जो हमसे सीनियर मेंबर्स यहाँ पर उपस्थित है, जैसे सीए ललित जी, उन्मेश जी, संदीप भाई, जिग्नेश भाई, विजेंद्र जी वगैरह जितने भी मेंबर्स यहाँ पे सब उपस्थित है। मैं इसका थैंकफुल हूँ कि आप सब ने मुझे मौका दिया यहाँ पे आने का। पर सीन्स ये सब जो कोविड का सिचुएशन चल रहा है, सबसे पहले मैं सबको कहना चाहूंगा कि आप सब सेफ रहे, और हो सके उतना एक दूसरे के अंदर जहाँ जहाँ पे जिसको हम हेल्पफुल हो सकते हैं हेल्पफुल होने की कोशिश करें। सुबह आज मैंने एक नंबर अपने ग्रुप में शेयर किए थे, ओसवाल जी बिल्डर्स, आप सब उनसे परिचित है। उन्होंने अपनी ओर से भारत विकास परिषद की ओर से फूड की व्यवस्था चालू की है। अगर कोई भी मेंबर अपना जिसको खाने का प्रॉब्लम है, उनके घर पे कोई भी कोविड में है और खाने का इशू है, भोजन की व्यवस्था नहीं हो पा रही है, आप सिर्फ एक दिन पहले उनको कोविड का रिपोर्ट और आपका एड्रेस अगर टेक्स्ट करते हैं तो आपके घर पे नेक्स्ट डे से जितने मेंबर्स का खाना वगैरह चाहिए वो सारा पहुंचाएंगे। उसके अलावा उन्होंने अपने ओर से ये भी बोला है कि अगर किसी के घर पे कोई मृत्यु होती है और अगर मृत्यु भोज वगैरह का भी अगर व्यवस्था करनी है तो वो करके देंगे। ये भी एक सुंदर सा कार्य उन्होंने शुरू किया है। उसके अलावा अपने मेंबर्स के अंदर भी सीए सुनील गुप्ता जी भी कल से फूड की व्यवस्था सबके लिए शुरू करने वाले हैं। उन्होंने सिर्फ सीए मेंबर्स और उनके फैमिली के लिए की है जिनको कोविड है, तो हम वहाँ पे उनको भी हम यहाँ पे अप्रिशिएट करेंगे। इसके अलावा भी बहुत सारे दूसरे मेंबर्स है जो है कोविड के अंदर हेल्प कर रहे हैं। सबका मैं फिर से एक बार धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा। किसी को और कुछ हो तो प्लीज एनी टाइम आप मुझे कॉल कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू चेतन भाई, आप इसी तरह से समाज में कार्य करते हैं, लोगों का भला करते रहेंगे। सबका एक ना एक दिन जरूर अपन इस पेंडेमिक से बाहर निकलेंगे, और जो भी इस पेंडेमिक में फंसा हुआ है हम मनोकामना करते हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी इस महामारी से बाहर निकल जाए और अपन नॉर्मल लाइफ की जिंदगी जिए। थैंक यू चेतन भाई, थैंक यू। नाउ ओवर टू जिग्नेश भाई फॉर योर क्वेरीज। जिग्नेश शाह, आर यू ऑडिबल?
संदीप भाई प्लीज पार्डन मी, मुझे कुछ इमरजेंसी चालू है, फोन कंटिन्यूस चालू है।
नो प्रॉब्लम चेतन भाई, प्लीज
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
हम आपकी टाइम की महत्वपूर्णता समझ सकते हैं। प्लीज कंटिन्यू, प्लीज।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
दुबे जी, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू इन बिटवीन, मैंने बीच में ले लिया इनका मान सम्मान का प्रोग्राम।
काफी आनंद आया चेतन जी का सुन के बात।
हाँ, तो ये हमारे रेगुलर कंट्रीब्यूटर है, सोशल वर्क में कंट्रीब्यूट करते रहते हैं हमेशा। जैन है, चौविहार करते हैं, सूर्यास्त के बाद कभी खाना नहीं खाते हैं, और हर बार हर जैनों का हर तरह का जो सिस्टम है वो फॉलो करते हैं, और काफी संस्था से जुड़े हुए हैं। ये जैनों के कार्य के लिए अलावा भी समाज सेवा में काफी अलग अलग कार्य करते हैं। सो कमिंग बैक टू अवर सेशन, सर एक क्वेरी आई है, नोटिस कैन बी इशूड बाय एडवोकेट और एनी अदर पर्सन कैन इशू?
No, any person can issue. Suppose my check is bounced, so I can myself issue the notice. There is no need that it should be issued through advocate only. It's up to you. If you can hire the advocate, you can afford the advocate, you can get notice issued through him only. Otherwise, you can. Only thing is that the content of the notice should be the same. So what would be the content? Your name, the detail of the check, purpose for which the check was issued, and there must be demand that you are hereby required to make the payment within 15 days. 15 दिन के अंदर आपको ये चेक की रकम देना है, नहीं तो हम कायदे अनुसार कार्रवाई करें। खाली इतना ही 4-5 लाइन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है।
बहुत सारी क्वेरीज तो मेरे ख्याल ओके बहुत सारी क्वेरीज मेरे ख्याल से आपने ऑलरेडी कवर कर ली है, लाइक वेदर लीगल नोटिस इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी इशूड ओनली थ्रू लॉयर और पार्टी पर्सन कैन बी इशू नोटिस, वो ऑलरेडी कवर किया आपने सर। इज देयर एनी टाइम लिमिट टू गेट फाइनलाइज सच केसेस? हेलो दुबे जी, हेलो दुबे जी, am I audible? हेलो,
yes Sandeep bhai, you are audible.
You're audible. दुबे जी आप हो? दुबे जी को अनम्यूट करिए ना जरा।
Dubai ji is unmuted only. I think network issue is there.
Yes sir.
अच्छा दुबे जी बाहर क्या? हेलो दुबे जी?
Yeah, Dubai ji is there.
दुबे जी क्वेरी आई है एक। हेलो
बोलिए सर।
Sir, if a check is issued in a minor account gets bounced, then who will be held responsible, guardian or minor?
Guardian, of course, because even minor cannot issue the check, he cannot sign the check. So
Okay, because
certainly,
if the account is in the name of minor, but the guardian is signing the check, so guardian is responsible.
guardian is responsible.
Okay. One more query is from our member: check dishonor, then check issued person file complaint, or misplaced check. Who dishonored, then check issued person file complaint for misplaced check. Who is correct? I don't know. By मेहुल जी. मेहुल जी, आपकी क्वेरी जरा वापस एक बार रेफर करेंगे. Sir, hello, Dubey ji.
हाँ जी सर बोलिए.
Whether we can claim any interest or compensation under such cases from drawer?
Yes, sir. Under statute itself, it is provided that the compensation would be the double of the check amount, or simple interest at the rate of 9 to 12%. So either you will get double of the check amount as a compensation, or interest at the rate of 9% or 12% from the date of the check till the completion of the case.
Sir, one more query is like that. Check is not dishonored, but check is received and not deposited. So how to recover that money from the party? Is there any remedy out of it?
So in that case, you have to approach to the civil court by way of filing summary suit or commercial suit. Because unless check is dishonored and there is a bank written memo stating the reason, so you can't file case under section 138.
So suppose if you have given a loan to anyone and they have given a post-dated check to us, the validity of check is over and the check is not honored to the bank. So in that case, we have to file the summary suit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any query more from a member? I think most of the query which I have received have been resolved already. There's no much query left now. Let me check again the chat box. If I got any other query, I'll ask you. How much court fees we have to pay for filing such cases?
It's rupees 200 at 10,000 amount. Suppose your check amount is 10,000. 200 rupees. Or approx is 2%, you can say. Suppose amount is 1 lakh, so you have to pay 2 lakhs. But it's 200 per 10,000 rupees.
Whichever is higher.
Whichever is low. But in that, you can say that round figure by 2% है.
Hello.
हाँ जी.
Hello. Sir, एक query आई है member के. What is the difference between summary suit and commercial suit?
See, before that, if suppose amount is liquidated, suppose you have sold a goods to a particular person under a tax paid invoice. So invoice number 1 is there. Amount is 10 lakhs. Credit period is 0 days, or 10 days, or 30 days, or 60 days. So after your credit period is over, if you are not receiving the payment, you will issue the notice to the other side. Notice is received by the other side. They are not making the payment. So you have to file the summary suit. If amount is liquidated, it's a particular amount, a specific amount, then summary suit is being filed. Now in 2015, Commercial Code Act was enacted and it was implemented in 2018. And through that act, if amount is below 3 lakhs, so you can file the summary suit. If it is above 3 lakhs, so you have to file the commercial suit. That is the difference. So amount is below 3 lakhs, you have to file a summary suit. If amount is above 3 lakhs, you have to file to the commercial suit. But certain criteria are there. Before going to for the commercial suit, you have to file a mediation application before the mediation court. There is a provision in the statute itself that mediation court is there. You have to pay the 1,000 mediation fee. So it works like arbitration. 1,000 भरने के बाद you have to file an application. Notice will be issued to the other side. Judges mediation. Judges will ask you, भाई आपको settle करना है out of court बैठ के बाहर केस में नहीं जाने का है. If parties agreed, matter will be settled over there. If suppose it is not settled, the mediation court will prepare a report. I issued the notice. Parties are not ready to settle the matter. Hence, parties are liberty to take appropriate course of the action. So in that case, you file the commercial. That is the difference between summary suit and commercial suit. But in summary suit, no provision there. You can.
हेलो दुबे जी।
हाँ सर।
हाँ हाँ, बीच में आवाज चली गई। सर एक क्वेरी आई है, check issued by A. Now B write and deposit in bank. A file complaints, check misplaced. Now A or B, correct? You may. Akash, can you unmute Mehul ji to ask their queries?
Hello.
Can you unmute Mehul ji to ask their query, because I didn't get what he exactly wanted to ask.
Mehul ji is already unmuted, Sandeep bhai.
Mehul ji, please आपकी क्वेरी पूछिए ना सर। मेहुल जी।
हाँ जी बोलिए सर।
आपकी क्वेरी है कुछ चेकबुक के बारे में, चेक इशू के बारे में, ए और बी की तरफ।
यस सर, डिस्क्लोज इट प्लीज टेल मी।
मिस्टर दुबे जी।
यस सर।
यस सर, किसी ए ने चेक इश्यू किया है।
यस।
और बी ने एक्सेप्ट किया है कि उसको ब्लैंक चेक दिया है। उसके बाद ए ने कंप्लेन किया कि मेरा चेक मिसप्लेस हो गया है, और बी ने वो चेक लिख के बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर दिया है। एक्चुअली उसे बी को पैसा लेना था, पर फिर वो सिचुएशन में ए विल बी प्रिवेल और बी विल बी प्रिवेल।
नहीं सर, अगर आपने चेक इशू किया है और चेक इशू करने के बाद आप ये कंप्लेन करते हैं कि मेरा चेक तो लॉस हो गया है, मिसप्लेस हो गया है, और आपके कंप्लेन करने के बाद भी सामने वाली पार्टी बैंक में डिपॉजिट करके केस करती है, so first thing, if you are admitting the signature on the check, so you have to prove that check was issued not guilty, it was misplaced or misused by B. Hello. If fails to explain the circumstances under what it was issued, then certainly B will succeed. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me, sir? Am I audible?
Sir, your voice is cracking. I repeat the question. Suppose मैंने आपको चेक इश्यू किया, मैंने आपको लोन दिया हुआ है।
मेहुल जी को चेक तो क्वेरी समझ में आ गई है, खाली आप उनका आंसर सुन लीजिए एक बार फिर से। दुबे जी, कैन यू रिपीट द आंसर अगेन, बिकॉज़ वो आपका आवाज इन बिटवीन गायब हो गया था।
हाँ, सुने सर मेरे को आप?
यस यस, प्लीज कंटिन्यू। हेलो दुबे जी।
ऐसा है कि अगर सपोज ए ने चेक इशू किया है और बी ने चेक उसको बाउंस कराया, डिपॉजिट किया, और वो चेक बाउंस होता है, लेकिन बिफोर दैट ए मेक्स ए कंप्लेंट दैट भाई मेरा ये चेक मिसप्लेस हो गया है, मिस्टर बी हैज मिसयूज्ड इट और ही हैज गॉट इट एंड ही डिपॉजिटेड इन द बैंक एंड नाउ ही इज प्रोसिक्यूटिंग मी फॉल्सली। तो इन दैट केस ये प्रूव करता है कि नहीं, ये चेक जो ए ने इशू किया है हमको, इट वाज अगेंस्ट द डिस्चार्ज ऑफ एनी लीगली इन्फोर्सेबल लायबिलिटी, so B will succeed। और A को ये साबित करना पड़ेगा कि ये चेक हमारा रियल में मिसप्लेस हुआ है, और उसके लिए जो भी एविडेंसेस, जो भी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन की प्रक्रिया होती है, that has to be complied by the A itself। What B will have to do, only he has to prove the signature that check was signed by A। Now his burden is check was stolen, it was misplaced, it was used by the B।
नहीं, अगर एक मिनट सर, अगर ए सपोज मैं ए हूँ, मैं कंप्लेंट में ही लिखता हूँ कि मेरा साइन किया हुआ चेक मिसप्लेस हो गया है, एफआईआर फाइल करता हूँ कि मेरा साइन किया हुआ ये नंबर का चेक, ये बैंक का एवरीथिंग इज मेंशन इन देयर कि ये मिसप्लेस हो गया है, और उसके बाद वो डिपॉजिट करता है और फाइल शूट करता है कि ये आपने मुझे दिया था, तो वो केस में प्रिवेल।
नहीं, वही मैं बोलता हूँ सर कि ये जिम्मेदारी आपकी होती है, एक की जिम्मेदारी होती है कि ये चेक हमारा रियल में मिसप्लेस हुआ है। ओनली फाइलिंग द एफआईआर और लॉजिंग कंप्लेंट विल नॉट सर्व योर पर्पस। आपको ये प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि किन परिस्थितियों में चेक ये मिसप्लेस हुआ है और ये चेक बी के हाथ में कैसे गया है, you have to explain the possibility, the circumstances under which the check might have been passed in the hands of the B. अगर आप वो रिकॉर्ड में लाते हैं, सपोज आपका चेक आपके घर से और उसके एक दिन पहले बी आपके घर पे आया हुआ है, ऑफिस पे आया हुआ है, तो देयर इज एवरी पॉसिबिलिटी दैट बी माइट हैव स्टोलन योर चेक. लेकिन ए और बी का कोई कनेक्शन ही नहीं रहा हुआ है, कभी 2, 3, 4 महीने 5 महीने के अंदर वो मुलाकात ही नहीं हुई है, और स्टिल यू आर ब्लेमिंग दैट ए हैव स्टोलन माय चेक, so that is little unexcusable, unacceptable.
ओके ओके,
ये चीजें आपको कोर्ट में थ्रू प्रॉपर एविडेंस आपको साबित करनी पड़ेगी. यू हैव टू एड्यूस द एविडेंस ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर पार्ट. So only by simply making complaint that check is misplaced, it was misplaced by the B, will not help you at all.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think there is no more query, and already we have covered a lot of query also, and we are on time to complete our session. So thank you, Dubey ji, for your fantastic session. There are a lot of queries was there who were resolved by your session. Now I request CA. I think there is some. Okay, now I request CA Amar Kakaria ji to please offer a vote of thanks for the session. Over to you, Amar ji.
Thank you, Sandeep bhai. Thank you, Dubey ji. Thank you, Dr. Khushbu. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And Sandeep bhai, it's really a great initiative, a wonderful response from all the members as well. As we know, Cassandra Clare had told, जिंदगी एक किताब है और ऐसे हजारों पन्ने हैं जो अभी तक हमने पढ़े नहीं है. In fact, this is applicable for all of us. But practically, there are experts like Dubey ji, there are experts like Dr. Khushbu, who are always available with us and they are there to guide us. From Bhayandar CA Social Group, we are thankful to both of them. Dr. Khushbu, a 25-year-old young dynamic healthcare professional, and Dubey ji, a veteran lawyer having 25 years of experience. Great combination today, and I'm sure all the members who have attended this, they found it very, very useful. Friends, as Dr. Khushbu has told, and as Government of India has been repeatedly telling, please stay at home, please stay safe. And in fact, this is something which is very much applicable for all of us. सदियों पहले लिखा गया था, घर एक मंदिर है, यही मंदिर आज अपनी ढाल बना हुआ है. इस मंदिर में रहे, सुरक्षित रहे. Please stay home, please stay safe, and looking forward for next session very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, every participant. Thank you for joining us. We will shortly inform you about our forthcoming session with our social group and our other media. Stay with us. Stay with social group. Thank you so much for being with us. Okay, Nitesh bhai, do you want to say something before we close this session?
So we can close the session, please.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, every participant.
Thank you very much, participants. Thank you very much.
Stay home, stay safe, be safe.